been here since 2005. I think RestorePoint has been around since 2003. And when it began, you've always been a data protection company, but I remember the focus being on backups and restoration. And then slowly over the years, there's been a transformation in the focus of what you do. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, so when I joined RestorePoint and we said it, and my partner said it's a data protection company, I said, wow, that sounds like security. And he said, well, backup is security, right? Because your last line of defense,
right.
If you get breached, or if you have ransomware attack or malware, is to be able to recover your data from a backup. And so what we found a couple years ago is, so we started as a backup company, we quickly added disaster recovery. We had people's data, they said, can you recover it onto our servers? And so we were able to do that, and then from there, what we noticed was 60% of all our restores were as a result of viruses and malware.
Yeah.
And so we said, how could we protect the data before it even gets to us? And that's when we embarked on an integrated security platform.
So other internet security companies, other companies like this, don't have as deep of an understanding, as of a background of the importance of restoration and backup. What are the ways, other than that make RestorePoint maybe a little bit more of a comprehensive solution?
Yeah, so we look at it as a continuum, right? And so data protection starts with, now, we actually put integrated security on the front end of the process, right? So we want to have good data coming in. So the last thing I want to do is back up malware, right? And back up viruses. And the other thing is, before I recover, I want to make sure the data is clean before I bring it back. And so when you think about it, security is all about people trying to get to your data.
Yeah.
Right? Or they're trying to get information so they can get to your data, right? And so our whole thing is, how do I protect the data? Right, and so we've added lots of different products. Palo Alto Networks is our partner in the security space. We took a platform-based approach, because what we found was security was a very noisy space. There's lots of point solutions out there.
Right.
So what we did is we took a platform approach to security. And so how do we protect not only people trying to get in from the internet, but what we do is we have a zero trust model, is what we call it. So what we assume coming in is that our network inside, or your network inside, is no more secure than people trying to come in from the outside. And so an example would be your administrators that have access to your servers, we no longer give them passwords. You only get a password for the time being that you need it, and then we turn it off when you're done.
Really?
So when you think about people trying to hack into your system, how do they get in? It's usually through your credentials.
I see.
What we did is we've actually removed the credentials, and we only give it to you for the point of time that you need it, and then we turn it back off.
Okay, now on the surface of that sounds incredibly annoying, because if I'm a guy and I want to get into the system, I go, damn it, they shut off my access. Right. But how do you stop that from happening? Right,
so it's all automated, right, in terms of how so it's basically just a matter of requesting that access. It's all automated in terms of giving that access, and then it shuts it back off.
And is it a two-step verification thing? You know, I request, and if I've got the right phone or the right device, I'm given access again.
And it's even smarter than that. If you're in the building, it knows not to do multi-factor authentication, because it knows the device you're on is already authenticated. But if you're trying to do it from outside the building, it'll ask for two-factor authentication.
You may not have this information, but it's just my curiosity. About how many times a month or every couple of months do you catch someone going, someone from outside the building is asking for authentication, and you go, that's not him? Does that happen quite frequently?
Not really.
No.
To be honest with you.
But what are some of the capers you've foiled? Can you talk about some success stories?
Yeah, I mean, so a lot of it is for us, we're finding a lot of viruses that are actually sitting in the backup data right now.
Already?
Yes.
So a new client comes to you, they say, we're great, back us up, and you get to say to them, hey, we got a problem, we've got to tell you.
So being able to scan those backups now is a big deal. And so we have a customer here in the real estate industry. We're actually going through their scanning process now, and every day we're finding more viruses that are sitting in their backups.
And are these viruses actively shooting information to servers? Are they kind of more benign?
They're dormant until I recover.
What'd you say?
They're dormant until I recover that environment.
I see.
And so they could change the signature on a virus now every 3 seconds. So I couldn't have enough people possible, right, to keep up with that. So Palo Alto, what they do for us is they have, so you think about it, you could be reactive, proactive, predictive. One step further is adaptive. Adaptive to me means I don't have to touch anything, and I can get real-time updates. So what Palo Alto is enabling us to do is, they have software called Traps, and what Traps does is rather than doing the old method of virus, which is just scanning, when you open a program, it says, did it open in the sequence that we expected? And if it didn't, stop it from running. Right? And so it's a very interesting process of how they're doing it, where what they're trying to do is protect you against not only what's known, but what's unknown. And that's the trick, right? How do I stay ahead of it? It's the unknowns. Once they find an unknown, it patches everywhere around the world at the same time within 5 minutes. And that's enabling us to be much more adaptive in our process.
Whether a customer is going to choose RestorePoint as a solution or not, what do they need to do to begin to protect their data and stop the risk, or at least moderate the risk of breach?
Yeah, so I think, I do think eliminating the passwords for your administrators is a big deal, right? And I think customers should begin to look at that.
So do you think that's going to become the standard, that the passwords are becoming a thing of the past?
Yeah.
It is about being in a place, it's about location-based or device-based authentication. Right. I see. Okay, so getting rid of password, what else do people...
That would be a big thing, and I think looking at some of these new tools, right? So I always say that if virus protection is working, McAfee, Symantec, all those products that have been out there forever, if it's working, then why does everybody still get viruses or ransomware?
Right.
So looking at some of the new tools like Palo Alto Traps, right, to find new methods of preventing viruses from occurring. And then I think the other thing is having this real-time adaptive approach to things, right? So rather than continuing to patch old environments like people have done for many, many years, right? Something happens, you go patch your environments or find the servers that are exposed, having something that can do that on your behalf that has machine learning, artificial intelligence that can do that in a smart way.
One of the things that we've been reading about is not that every asset, things that you wouldn't think would even be a big risk. I mean, I just read a story about this isn't that subtle, but they deleted the Atlanta police's video.
Right.
But even your video of what's going in and out of your door is an important asset. And as we finish up here, what is the last note you want to sound to the people watching Conference Live, the people here at the conference? What is the first step of action they need to take?
Well, I think you need to take an assessment of what you have.
Yeah.
Right? And we talked about that yesterday at the Cybersecurity Forum. Is the first thing is really take an assessment of where you are in the state of your cybersecurity maturity.
Right.
And then from there, you could begin to put a plan in place, right, of how do I lock that down. And it's a continuous process.
Yeah.
Right? It's not like I'm ever going to be done, right? I have to continually improve on that.
And you have to align with the experts, and I can encourage everyone, knowing both you and Abdul, if you're here at the conference or if you're just watching this, take some time to talk to Dave or Abdul at RestorePoint. You guys have been doing this for a very long time. Thank you so much for shedding your expertise with us.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
All right.
Dave.